The Gallagher Shots podcast is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Hi everybody and welcome back to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel and podcast. We are here, it's another match reaction. It's first thing on a Sunday morning as Newcastle United beat Manchester City 2-1. Andy was at the game. Unfortunately, I couldn't make this one. It's always the ones that I miss, Andy, where we get a result like that. Unfortunately, I couldn't get childcare for the boys, but I watched it at home and I had just as good as a time at home on that sofa as what I would in St. James's Park, mate. But let's get straight into it because I think, let's not deny this. Since we have been missing our fullbacks in Tino and Hall, we've all criticised the likes of the players that play in front of them as well, the likes of the wingers. But we've always threw a caveat in there saying things will change when the fullbacks are available. And by God, did we see that, Andy? Like overlaps. How many overlaps did you see in that game? And that's exactly what we've been missing. I was celebrating overlaps, even though nothing was coming from them. I said, get in. We're just getting in great positions on both the left and the right. But that gets straight into the changes there. Obviously, the two lads. Tino's a big shock. Tino comes into that starting 11. I think they said Trips had picked up a minor hamstring injury. So Tino was forced to play. And Lewis Hall, we all knew Hall would be starting after his 70-minute run out for England during that international break. But I think the only other change was Fabian comes in and replaces Botman. But I want to focus on the fullbacks to start with, Andy. Seeing them on the team sheet was like a win in itself.
Yeah, like you say, we all expected Hall, but when we heard Tino was starting as well, it lifted everyone I was speaking to before the game. Because we love Trippier. He was such a big part of what made this new Newcastle work. But we've seen this year and maybe the year before that he's not been quite at the races, a bit reluctant to go forward. But I mean, with these two, they are not reluctant to go forward. Soon as the ball, obviously, it was an amazing start anyway, with the chance we got so early. But just the fact they were making runs, the fact that they could progress the ball forward. Lewis Hall did a couple of lovely little touches where I think he got pressed by that Cherky for Man City, and he did a little sort of 1-2 touch around him and then laid it inside. Murphy got loads of time to put crosses in because Tino was always on the overlap. It was amazing, and it was nice just to feel a bit vindicated because we've all been saying on this channel, because we're trying to be optimistic, it'll be better when the fullbacks come back. It'll be better. If we'd still been terrible, we would have all looked a bit daft. but they look great. Not just going forward as well, but going back. They both did so well against really good players. Can't deny how good Man City have been this year. They've been overlooked a little bit. But going back, Tino did a couple of amazing recoveries, and against Doku, and then on the other side, they're both fantastic. For me, England's best left and right back.
Oh,
in my opinion,
undeniable, I would say. Like,
if we can keep them fit for the rest of the season, we'll climb up again. It makes such a massive difference to the team.
What was nice to see as well, that I know that they've been out for a little while, both players now as well, and they look like they hadn't missed a beat, mate. Like they look like they had just played the last game for Newcastle that they were there, and I think Tino made the full 90 minutes as well. And obviously, you say at some point Hall goes down with a bit of a cramp issue, but he lasts a fair chunk of that game. And you're thinking, fair play, lads, he's put in an absolute shift here when called upon. And that's exactly what we needed. Like we said, exactly what we've been missing. I think Lewis Hall's probably going to steal the spotlight for me if I'm just looking at the fullbacks, because Hall was phenomenal yesterday. And you can see that he's still got a bit of a love in for being a centre midfielder, I would say, and playing in midfield, because he, like you mentioned, he loves those 1-2s and he just carries himself into the middle of the field. Then all of a sudden he just pops back up on the left-hand side, on the wing, ready to do more overlaps. Overlap, I'm saying it again, I love overlaps. And just put the ball in the box. And he'd done it so many times, like you said, a couple of times on the byline. He's just skipping past players. He's just spinning, pirouetting, and he's away. And
He just
honestly,
looks so calm. Like, I think with Tino, I love Tino, but he often does this thing where if he doesn't know what to do, he'll just go on a mazy dribble. And I'm never 100% confident that he actually is calm. He just goes on a dribble. Whereas Hall,
yeah,
he just looks so unbothered by the whole thing. Because, like you say, going against some of the best players in Europe, and he's like, I'll just skin you. I'll lay it inside. I'll make a little run around you. It's no bother at all. And defensively, like, he never gets done in the air, considering he's only a short lad, really. He always looks really assured. 1v1 defended. I'm just sat there, like where I sit. I'm usually quite close to sort of the left back when we're defending the leasers, and I just sit there going, "Yeah, he's got this. It's fine." I've just got no worries about the fullbacks at all. And it's like I say, if we can keep them both fit, that's the thing now. We've got to keep them fit, and probably in January get a couple of bodies in to support them, because we've seen the drop off and the increase we have when it's them or not them. That's the thing for me.
I think it was one of those moments where I think myself as a fan and probably a lot of other people in the same position just completely forgot how good Lewis Hall is.
Oh,
Like, because I was watching that game and I think I was looking at the thing and going, I've seen this before. It just felt like so long ago that I had seen it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's amazing, and it's obviously Daniel in our channel, isn't it, who says that he thinks Hall's our best player, like unironically says he's our best player, and he made the point that last season before he got injured, he probably would have been our player of the season, and he probably will have done, but it's weird with Hall because sometimes we say this about Willock sometimes when players are unavailable, we sometimes start sort of overselling them, like absence makes the heart grow fonder and all that. With Hall, it's like it's the opposite. We kind of all forget how amazing he was, and with Tino as well. I just love him, honestly. And the whole defense was immense. I don't know if we're going to get onto it, but Chow as well was absolutely mint. 1v1 Haaland in the box. The whole defense. It just felt like that prime Eddie Howe where we were so good up the pitch, and defensively when we went to a 5 at the back, it was like, yeah, we're not going to concede. And
what I liked from our two fullbacks, Andy, was it was just no nonsense from the very start. It was, I'm going to do my job and I'm just going to rely on everybody else to do theirs. You didn't see Fabian Shaw trying to ping balls left, right, and centre, which I do love from Fabian Shaw. I love it when he does that.
He did try and find Murphy a couple of times in the first half and then gave up. Yeah.
but normally with Shaw, he's just constantly trying to find that ball, like just always looking at the wide men. But like you said, Malik Chow, and I know Botman's came under some criticism the last couple of games, let's say, despite having a very, very good start of the season with that centre-back partnership, which we were so happy with at the very start. But Malik Chow, he is phenomenal, Andy. Like, I know we say this a lot about players that come to Newcastle. We'll see them after a few games and we'll say, oh, he's the best player in that position that we've ever seen. Malik Chow is already up there for me. From what I've seen so far, unless he has a big drop-off, he is a luxury to have at centre-back. And how he hasn't been picked up by anybody else in the Premier League before we came along blows my mind. Because, like I said, he just so calm. Like, and we'll just go back to that tackle that he does on Haaland, where Haaland, he tries to shift the ball from his left to his right. And Malik Chow's like, nah, like just not doing it. And he I
stood up and cheered that when he tackled him. As a defender myself, obviously not quite to their level, but I was.
You'll get there, Andy. Plenty of time.
Oh, maybe if my knee didn't go. But yeah, it's the whole Rolls Royce cliche, isn't it? I mean, I don't really know what that means, but like he's unreal. He reminds me a lot of Van Dijk when, like, a few years ago when he was at his absolute prime. You just never felt like anyone was going to get the better of him. So calm, big tall lad, good with his feet. I mean, there was Milan fans basically saying, "Oh, thanks for the 30 million." It's like 30 million. We should have paid 3 times that for him. He's ridiculous. So I don't know what they were thinking, really. And he must just give the whole defense confidence. Like, that's the whole thing with defending. It's all just about confidence in each other and having trust in each other. And there's been times with Burn at left back, and it goes back to what you're saying about Shah. You don't always have that confidence that if you're under pressure, you can play it out wide to Burn and things like that. And with Chow as well, it's just like Cruyff turning Haaland in the middle of the pitch and stuff. It's like, are you for real? I remember having some. Oh, I mean, I'm old enough to remember Mike Williamson. It's like how far we've come. Like with defenders, I've never known us have such technically gifted defenders on the ball and off the ball. And that 1v1 with Haaland, He just stood him up, let him make his move, stuck his leg out, perfect tackle, and he's just brilliant. I can't wait to see what we do with him moving forward. And with Botman, I think he came on and did a job towards the end in a back five. I think Botman in a back five that's when he's at his best. And there was only really one wobbly moment for the actual defence, which was right towards the end of the game. Shah did lose Haaland in the box, and he managed to block the shot. But that was it. That was one little blip, and it just felt like those early Eddie Howe days where we were putting backs to the wall, fighting for each other, refusing to concede a goal. It really felt like that, and I think Chow's a big part of that.
This is from a team that's been flying as well, Andy. Like, and we know Newcastle at St James's Park has been a different team to what it has away from home, especially in the Champions League. There's no denying that. But I think I've already said this at some point this season. But it looked like Newcastle were back to the best, and it really did yesterday. And yes, we can look at the fullbacks and put it to that. But if we just move away from them and look at the rest of the team, that midfield three yesterday as well, they were sensational. I think Bruno controlled everything. He pulled the strings in the centre midfield for me. Probably one of Bruno's best games without getting on the score sheet. He was just constantly driving forward, and players couldn't get near him. And the same with Tonali. I think in the first half, maybe he was getting just pinned like constantly. Every time Tonali got the ball, he had two City players on him. But as the game went on and on, especially that second half, he was everywhere on the field, which we do tend to see from Tonali. And then just the shift to Joe Linton. Joe Linton was fantastic yesterday. I've never seen a player close down his man as quick as what Joe Linton does and just goes through his man in the same instance as well. He leaves nothing on that field, Joe Linton. And he was even recycling play as well yesterday, which we don't normally see from him, what haven't seen recently. He was just winning the ball, passing to the next player that's available to him. Then the move's gone again. Like, I absolutely loved that midfield three yesterday.
Yeah, well, just with Joe Linton, firstly, I think we did really well because Bruno was always quite close to him. So there was a couple of times where Joe Linton won it and he could just lay it back to Bruno. Yeah. And we saw that for the first goal, I think, where Joe Linton had won it back. He laid it back to Bruno and he made that run. But yeah, I think we always say how good our midfield is, but then we also say how we're so surprised at how often we lose control of games. But the balance of the midfield three in a game like that is exactly what we need. Joe Linton is the enforcer, Bruno is the controller, and Tonali is the just do whatever you want, mate, because you mint. But I think it probably goes back to just the balance of the team in general. The midfield had a lot more time than they would do normally. We've got so many more options out wide that they did have a few more moments. There was times where we were playing it inside to Tonali and you could actually just control the ball and breathe. Whereas I think this season we've seen every time Bruno, Tonali, Joe Linton's been getting the ball, it's been an absolute swarm and we've had to force it back to the defence and then we've gone long and lost it. So they were mint. I think Tonali, second half certainly, but that's probably just because the stamina on the bloke is just insane and he can just outrun everyone for the whole game. Really pleased for Joe Linton because I've been critical of him this year. I think technically he's not been fantastic this year. And even in terms of his ball winning, he's not been great either. But we saw him back to his best. Whether he's going to be as good in a different sort of game when we're going to have more of the ball, I don't know. But Bruno, we're seeing him defend well, control the game, win fouls, get up the pitch and play those lovely little through balls. We saw the best of all the midfield, so really pleased.
They were great yesterday, and really, really, really good. I want to move to the winger, start on the right-hand side. Jacob Murphy, you know what you're going to get from Jacob Murphy every single game.
Right. Is he the best crosser in the league, by the way? He has to be.
I just ended that sentence on his balls.
I mean, it's a different podcast.
His delivery of a ball, like you said, Andy, is second to none. I think he puts two on Voldemort's head, like on his.
Lots of 3 assists
on his head. He was. Honestly, he's fantastic, and it's always different with Murphy as well. It's not like he just constantly just gets the byline, crosses in, or hits it first time. He tries different things. What I like from Jacob Murphy is when he does hit that early ball. Something which I'm screaming from you lads all the time when I'm playing on FIFA. Get the early ball.
I don't have it this year. It's not to do with me.
Get the early ball in the box and I'll be Big Nick. But yeah, like his delivery is sensational. And before we move on to Harvey Barnes, I think it's probably the best time to speak about Voldemort as well, because he was so unlucky not to get on the score sheet yesterday. He's away from an international break. He gets 2 in the first game, 1 in the second. Comes to St James's Park and he gets 3 chances, I believe, 3 decent chances that he gets. And fair play to Donnarumma because he's kept them in that game for so long because we could have been out of sight.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think Voltemado count himself unlucky. I think the first chance he had, that's the first time he's ever had a shot saved in the Premier League because he's scored every single shot, hasn't he, so far? I think the first two chances he had, so he had that header that Murphy put in and he sort of just hit a sort of a flicked header. I think that's a good save. I think he gets good contact on it. You can't have a go at him about it too much. He does really well to find the space. The second one's where Barnes plays it through to him and he's sort of outside the box, isn't he? He could maybe do a bit better, but it's a good contact, it's a good strike. I think it's just a good save. I think Donnarumma makes him look like bad finishes because he's such a massive bloke. He doesn't really have to put his arm out at all. I think the only disappointing one for me was the third one where he had to sort of hit it first time. I think if he just lifts that, it's a goal. But I mean, the lad's having to do so much running in that team at the minute. But we've just seen when we get the team right, he's going to get chances for us. It's obviously been a criticism when we've been playing poorly is that we're not giving him enough. But I think he did well. I think he held up the ball pretty well towards the end when we were under pressure. Like before he came off, he was holding it up pretty well and winning a couple of fouls. Although I will say, he gets fouled more than anyone I've ever seen. He was constantly getting his shirt took off him. Same for Joe Linton. And it's this thing that annoys me in football now, where if you're a big lad, you get penalised for it.
We've seen it so many times. You don't even have to go too far back. And on two separate occasions of his career in Newcastle, and you look at Andy Carroll. Yeah, Andy Carroll used to get ragged around left, right.
It's a disadvantage being big, honestly. And then you look at people like when Kane was in the league and he used to just fall over and break all players' legs. Yeah, but anyway, we shouldn't really talk about the ref because he had a few. We had a up and down one.
He had a couple of moments, and we'll get on to a couple of moments because I think I've seen a lot of things on social media, especially TikTok. I'm obsessed with TikTok at the minute through the Gallagher Shots account, but I've seen a lot of people kicking off about certain moments in that game from numerous fan bases, not just City. But we'll get on that towards the end. Harvey Barnes, be honest, Andy, did you think that was going to turn into a game in the first half where Newcastle had an abundance of chances and we were not going to find the back of the net? Because Barnes has a couple in the first half. That one, which was in the first 27 seconds, which I think it's happened so quickly and within the first 30 seconds of a game, and he's probably just shit his pants and panicked and didn't know what to do. He could have kept on running and then he could have walked into the net, and obviously he's got that other one later on where it's harder to miss that chance than find the back of the net. Jamie Vardy-esque, that sort of opportunity. But I certainly was sat watching at home thinking, it's going to be another one of these games.
Yeah, it's one where you just think, are these missed chances going to bite us? But then Man City kept missing chances as well, and it was like, I don't think anyone wants to score here.
That Foden one. How's he not buried that?
Well, I thought the Haaland one early on was a shocker until I actually saw the highlights, and Pope actually flies out and does really well. Because in the stadium, I was thinking, this is Mo Salah and Liverpool all over again. Pope's going to get sent off and the season's going to go to shit. But though with Barnes' one, the first one, like you say, it reminds me of that PSG game, ironically, with Donnarumma, where we won it back high up the pitch and got that first goal against them. But he just has to lift it. I think he makes it too obvious that he's going to just bend it far corner and Donnarumma just goes early. Yeah. But fair enough, it's an early chance. And then, the second one, I really do hope it was offside because, it looked worse on the replay again. He was in between the two posts, and I get it's his weak foot, but that's a poor one. That's similar to the ones we've seen Gordon score in the Champions League. You've just got to be thankful that we're actually creating the chances. But his first goal, if you want to get onto that, unbelievable football, that goal. Like Bruno, what he does best, I don't know why we play him deep so often, because when he gets forward, he's absolutely mint. Lays it into Barnes. Barnes flicks it around the corner. Bruno drives with it. And you can see on the replay, Barnes is screaming at Bruno, even though he's on the edge of the box. He's like, I want this. And he just gives him a toe across and then fires it bottom corner. Donnarumma, he nearly gets to that as well. I wish he would piss off. He's absolutely class. They nearly getting that one as well. But absolutely mint finish right inside the posts. You can't save them. And it came at a massive time in the game because it felt like they were maybe just going to get on top if we couldn't get the chances, especially with the sort of subs they were bringing on. Bringing on Reinders as a sub, I was like, how will Man City give us a chance here?
Like you mentioned, though, Bruno in those tight spaces, he's unbelievable. He's getting crowd by players, and he always finds that pass, always.
He doesn't always, but what I was grateful for in the stadium was that we weren't on his back when he was misplacing a pass because the team was doing a bit better. He always tries things, and sometimes he gets a bit of stick because he's trying to play a worldy pass, but he meant.
He's honestly sensational in those sort of positions, and I think, like you just mentioned there, the finish from Barnes, that's the Harvey Barnes that we love to see, isn't it? Like he can be deadly. No wonder he's bringing out arrows from his back, because honestly, he is deadly. He can put them pinpoint if he wants to, especially when he opens up his body there and he's got that chance to. And on it, when that tucked in the corner, I leapt, mate. I nearly went through the roof because it was. And the noise from St. James's Park, what was that like, mate? Because I can imagine that was loud.
It was a really good atmosphere, actually. Obviously, they still stuck with playing local hero at the wrong time. But I think in general, it was a good atmosphere. Man City always bring a good away end, and they were pretty good. So it was a good back and forth. But yeah, when the first goal went in, it really did lift the crowd. It was just starting to get a little bit edgy. But yeah, atmosphere was great. And obviously, it helps when you've got Joe Linton clattering everyone and trying to fight everyone. It gets the crowd up as well. Yeah, atmosphere was great after that. Although we had a pin put in it a little bit like 20 seconds later when they scored.
Yeah, not long after it. Not long after, there's Diaz, isn't it, that gets the equalizer, and it's just one of them where we try our best to clear our lines, and we're doing it well. A shot comes in. I think it's Hall that tries to clear it, doesn't really clear it successfully. He just sticks a foot at it rather than trying to clear it, which is fine. Nobody's throwing any shade at in his corner. And do you know what it is? The finish from Diaz is decent. He adjusts his body as well and absolutely smashes
it through about 5 defenders. Yeah, it's a good finish. And
it hits Fabian, doesn't it? It's going in the back of the net anyway, but then it hits Fabian, megs him, then hits off the inside of his leg. Then goes past Pope. Pope's flat foot. Pope's got no chance of saving that because it just goes through so many bodies, and you're thinking, how lads, like, come on. But we go up to the other end, and Diaz is off the screen at this point. Off the field at this point because he had picked up a nosebleed during everything that was happening.
Oh, is that what it was? I saw he had to change his shirt. Yeah. Couldn't work out, but he was kicking off. He didn't get to come on earlier.
His nose was pissing the blood, mate. Yeah, but it's in the same moment where he's off the field and he runs back on. Then that's when obviously it all takes another turn for Newcastle United as well, and it's Harvey Barnes again with a little flick, like from I don't even know how he's managed to do this. A little daft little cheeky flick from his back heel, and just the commotion around that goal. Bruno comes in, steamrolls his way in, hits the crossbar. He loves getting head at the back post, like Bruno. He always finds himself at the back post, hits the crossbar, comes out. There's a bit of a scuffle there, and it's Barnes once again. And once again, St. James's Park goes absolutely crazy. But what I want to focus on mainly at this point is it's took, I think, approximately 7 minutes for VAR to award that goal, because they're looking at 3 incidents we're led to believe. So there's 2 offsides, and there is a possible foul on Donnarumma in there as well. And this is what I've seen, like I mentioned earlier on, this is what I mentioned that we've seen from social media. People saying that it's a foul on Donnarumma. I think they're saying in the interview as well with a couple of players from Man City, the same thing. And the fact that Bruno clearly is offside from the screen grabs that everybody is looking at, because once again, people don't realize how cameras work, because you can put a camera that isn't in line with something, but apparently your eyes are correct and this £1 million technology is incorrect. But what are your thoughts on it?
Well, my initial thoughts were, in the stadium, I had no clue what was happening, because at the other end to me, there was like all 20 players were in the box, and there was just up, down, the ball's in, right? So in the stadium from where we were, we had no idea what they were checking for. When they put possible offside on the screen, the Man City players were complaining, saying, no, it's not offside, we want a foul. I still don't know what the foul is. For me, Donnarumma is just, you've got to be stronger in the box. When we score the goal, he's in the net. Like, you can have a go at Newcastle.
I think it's an incident before that, Andy, when the ball first gets coming in the back. I think it might be Fabian.
He got feet, didn't he?
Exactly. I think Fabian puts his hands on his back, then obviously he pushes himself forward, as players do, and they normally get those sort of things. But for me, that categorically not. No,
I think we're seeing it in the league. Like, you look at Arsenal as well, like, everyone's constantly fouling each other in the box, and they kind of just have to let it go, because otherwise no one would ever score. So I think it's going to be one of them where if that was the other end, we'd probably be complaining, saying it's a foul, but they'll be over it by next week. I don't think it's an absolute horror show. It's not corruption or anything like that. I mean, the offside, when I was walking back to my bus yesterday and I looked at the picture, I was like, he's offside, isn't he? He's like, his foot is like a yard in front. But and then you've got people on Twitter drawing their own lines with their iPhone with the wobbly finger, like, oh, he's clearly offside. But I mean, the technology's there. It's meant to square it up and actually
Andy,
line it
I
up
think
properly.
these people on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, on Twitter these days, I think that I don't think anybody actually believes that is offside, because obviously we've seen the evidence. But I think they just do it because obviously you get interaction from it and things like that. It's just clickbait, isn't it? But I think what I have seen is people saying and putting the line from the shoulder rather than, because I think now it's the bottom of the sleeve that they put the line from. And when they're doing the lines like that, Bruno's miles on side. He's not even close. But once again, it's all doing
I don't get why it took so long though, because my understanding was that it's the semi-automated tech now, and it's not someone manually clicking and dropping a line on. So I don't know what's happened there, but yeah, it's just painful how long it took. But ultimately, if they get the right decision, which we're obviously going to say it was, then fine. But I don't think Man City can say that's the reason they lost the game. I think we were really good, and think we were, I think 3 points was fair enough. It could have gone either way when you look at the early chances, but in that stage of the game, 1-1, and we were on the up, I think we would have scored anyway, personally.
Yeah. Just whilst we're talking about questionable decisions as well, we might as well end it on this one. As early on, Fabian Shaw goes in on Foden. Foden does get his shot away, but Fabian makes contact and takes Phil Foden down. Now that you've seen that back, are you shocked that that penalty is not being given?
No, it's never a pen. Let's move on.
I was watching that at home, and I saw the highlights obviously straight away, and I thought, "Oh, here we go."
Trying to be impartial. People have said if that's anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul. If you play the pass and you get cleaned out, it's a foul. The difference is the ball's still in play. Then, if you play a pass and it goes out to your fullback, and then you get clattered, and you think, yeah, it's a foul. It's weird, like with that one, because I get why people think it might be a pen, because he has got the man and not the ball, but he has shot the ball and it's a dead ball at that point. So if that happened to us, I'd be absolutely fuming if we didn't get a penalty. But this way around, I can see why it's not as well. Plus, on field, he didn't give a pen, and the whole point of VAR is that you're not supposed to overturn it unless it's a howler. And for me, it's not really. So I can see why Man City fans in the heat of the moment are complaining, but it's not a horrid decision or anything like that. I think it's fair enough.
And I think it's in the post-match interview with Ruben Diaz again, where they mentioned this to him, and he said that's not a big thing really. Says that you see those in games, but then he goes on to moan about the whole Donnarumma incident as well afterwards. Full time comes along, Andy, and there's kickoffs, and Joe Linton's heavily involved in those kickoffs as usual. As a player of an opposition team, why would you want to fight Joe Linton is beyond me. But he's always there. He's always amongst it. And what I want to mention, what I want to highlight is Pep Guardiola has a couple of conversations with our players at full time. I'm not sure what you've seen it from the stands, but it looks like from a distance that he's having a nice little chat with Bruno Guimaraes. And I think a lot of people on the ground, because a lot of the texts and messages that were going into our WhatsApp, what people saying, it looks like it looks like Pep's trying to tap up Bruno. It was far from that. So watching on TV, there's an argument going on between Pep and Bruno, and Bruno's pointing at certain positions on the field. Bruno doesn't look happy. Pep doesn't look happy. Of course, Pep's not going to look happy after that result. But he's questioned about it afterwards in his interview. And he said, what was the conversation? Because it looked like it was getting a bit heated between you and Newcastle's captain. And he just says that he was telling Bruno how good he was. That was not the conversation that was being had.
No, I love Pep. I think he's class. He's just it's just a diplomatic answer. He's always he's not one of these managers who you despise. I think they're both just really passionate people. You saw Pep after we scored our first goal. He's absolutely raging, smacking his seat and all sorts. I think he's just passionate. And I don't think he was trying to poach Bruno or anything like that. I think he's just one of these managers. He likes to get involved and things. So it's whatever. But I agree. Why anyone tries to start on Joe Linton, just leave it.
Yeah. So straight after he has that chat with Bruno as well, his face changes completely. He's got a big grin on his face and he's starting to walk towards Tonali and he puts his arm around Tonali. And I have never seen Graham Jones move as quickly in my life. He's literally there.
It's like Stephen Graham in This Is England, isn't it, with the machete?
Yeah. He's like, as soon as that arm goes around Tonali, he's like, nope, I'm there.
Hands off,
like,
Ollie.
fair play. Because I love to see anything like that. Like it's just something extra that you get from these moments. But overall, Andy, what a result for the lads! Like we've needed that. Nobody expected that, and it's always a bit nicer when it comes against a team as good as Manchester City in those moments as well. When you think that our season is not done, but you think that we're going to have a very, very big fight on our hands to get any way of note this season. That changes everything. That changes, obviously, league position. We'll jump up a couple of spots. We'll bring that pack a little bit closer so we can continue to climb. We've got a great opportunity now going against Everton next weekend as well to progress that climb a little bit further. But it just changes the dynamics of the fan base as well for me from those sort of results and those sort of performances. Let's put the performance in there as well. Because it was a dominant performance from us. I thought were fantastic, really, really good in most areas of the field. I think we won almost every key battle in there, despite not having seen a lot of the ball. I think we did what we were supposed to do in that game, and it was pinpoint accurate in there. But like, what your thoughts on this one? It's as a fan now, has your mood shifted from what it was this time last week?
Yeah, massively. I said after the game that this is the Newcastle that we know and love under Eddie Howe. I think it's maybe being a blessing in disguise that we played Man City when we did, because it felt like we just needed one of those Eddie Howe under the lights moments to get the season back on track. I mean, obviously, we've got to then go to Everton and show the same level of intensity and desire to win a game like that, which is obviously another conversation. But within the first minute, winning that ball back high up and getting a chance, we were like, this is it. This is the Eddie Howe team. And I was buzzing to see it because it's the best team of all of our generations, probably maybe the best ever Newcastle team. And just to see it sort of fade away a little bit was really sad, because you don't want to start criticising these players that have brought you the best memories of your football life and the best manager we've ever had. You know, a manager who's just been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then within 5 minutes of that game, we were like, yeah, that's why, because the bloke is a top manager. Thank God that he hasn't lost his mojo, because we need him now more than ever. So, absolutely buzzing to get our Newcastle back. And we've just got to push on now and make sure it wasn't a flash in the pan.
Eddie's 100th win, I think it was, as well, for the club, just after his 4-year anniversary as well. And like you could see it from the sidelines, it meant a lot to him as well, Andy, that result. Like you could see him celebrating.
Well, he's technically only on 99 because Jason Tyndall did one of them on his own. So
I completely forgot about that. But like, yeah, I think I'm buzzing with that one, mate. Like, I did a daft little reaction video yesterday as well, and honestly, I was ecstatic, like really, really was, and I'm the same as you. It just shifted my opinion for the rest of the season. I just hope it doesn't shift again come next week. But we'll keep it positive. I'm actually there. I'm heading down to Liverpool.
So you might see me, Dad.
Yeah, I'll give him a little bit. In fact, I'll not give him a wave. I'll give him a big hug, mate. But yeah, I'm heading down there, so I'm going to try and do a couple of recordings whilst I'm down there as well, like some sort of match day vlog as well. I think Scott recorded one yesterday whilst he was at the game against Manchester City as well. So that should be going out soon enough. We've got plenty more stuff coming as well. Me, you, and Ben are also recording a preview for the upcoming game against Marseille, which you and Ben are heading to.
And Nickel.
And Nickel is heading there as well. So yeah, we'll get into that and we'll deep dive into that a little bit later. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching this one. I hope you are all as happy as what me and Andy are, and you can enjoy the rest of what's left of this weekend as well, because I'm certain that I will be as well. But if you do want to give an extra bit back, it is just $2.99 a month to become a member. You would have seen a QR code throughout this one as well, so just go and scan that as well. Become a subscriber. Costs you nothing for that. Like the video, that always means a lot to us as well. And if you are listening to whatever audio platform it is, just give us a rating on there. 5-star helps us out so much going forward. And we'll see you next time. Cheers, Andy.
Bye.